Good morning. This is Kelloland on the Go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Authorities in Sioux Falls are investigating an officer-involved shooting. Police were working with deputies on the northwest side of the city when a man they were looking for allegedly confronted and threatened officers with a knife. Officers used less lethal measures to try to stop the man, but it didn't work.
Police eventually fired a gun at the suspect. The suspect was given first aid and was taken to a hospital. No officers were hurt. The South Dakota DCI is investigating. We're also hoping to learn more about an incident in central Sioux Falls Thursday afternoon. Police officers, sheriffs, deputies, and other investigators surrounded two cars near 11th Street and Summit Avenue. Our photographer on the scene saw the investigators pulling items out of two different cars with dealer plates.
He also saw at least two people handcuffed and put in the back of patrol cars. We're hoping to learn more at this morning's police briefing. You can watch it live on KELLOLAND.com starting at 10:30. In an update to a story we first brought you yesterday morning, a Sioux Falls man is facing charges after a crash on the east side of town. It happened early Thursday morning on East 18th Street, just west of Interstate 229. Police say the driver was drunk when he lost control of his SUV and crashed into a parked car, pushing it into a tree.
The SUV rolled and ended up upside down. Despite all of the damage, there were no serious injuries. The driver, 30-year-old Cale Dorsey, is charged with DUI and reckless driving.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. Going to be a bit of a wet weekend out there, Scott.
Oh, even starting across western South Dakota with some snow into the hills of western Kettleland. Winter storm watch is in effect for that area starting tomorrow evening, lasting through the day on Sunday. In the meantime, today, temperatures will reach the 50s, 60s, and 70s. With our strong wind today in western and central South Dakota, eastern Kettleland will get in on the strong wind starting tomorrow. More details on your forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. For years, parents trusted him to coach their kids and teach them how to dance. But now a former Sioux Falls dance teacher has pleaded guilty to sexual solicitation of a minor. In court yesterday, Kevin Tongvan admitted to sending nude photos to a 14 to 15-year-old victim and asking for nude photos in return.
In exchange for pleading guilty to 3 charges, the state dismissed 11 other felony counts. According to court documents, some of those charges involved 2 other young victims. Tongvan's sentencing hearing is currently set for May 28th. He faces a maximum of 30 years in prison, but his attorney is asking for a cap of 15 years.
11 people are facing serious charges after getting caught in an online sex sting.
Several agencies came together over a 6-day period and caught 11 individuals trying to solicit minors over the internet for sex.
These types of cases, which are not rare, in our office last year we brought more than 100 cases of this nature. Just shows the threat that exists here in our own community.
The names of the people who are charged is on our website under this story.
A Better Business Bureau investigation shows online vehicle scams reached record highs in 2023. Scammers are placing convincing ads on legitimate websites and well-known social media sites.
A man from Alabama called the Sioux Falls office after he lost $40,000 to a scammer pretending to sell a classic car in the Millbank area.
I just said to him, I'm so sorry to tell you, there is no guy in Millbank that has a car. There is no car. None of this is true.
Jesse Schmidt says scammers often use fake escrow companies to lure buyers into wiring money. Other warning signs include a price that's too good to be true and the seller insisting on using a delivery service.
And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, our weather update here today. Watching the weekend weather forecast for some heavy snow potential in the Black Hills. From Lee to Deadwood down to Hill City to Custer to Sundance. So that's the area most at risk for the heavy snow. Rapid City proper, probably not as much. We'll continue to closely monitor that situation. I think when you look at the Rapid City number, again, you got to note the spot that we're picking the data from is just on the west end of Rapid and into the hills. So once you start to get up into elevation, that's where that snow line is really going to impact things, and the chances of getting a 6-inch snow pretty good, including especially Lead and Deadwood there. Now, the chances of severe weather on the front side of this system are also fairly high there in central Nebraska. I think when you look at South Dakota, probably the biggest thing will be a few rumbles of thunder with some of those approaching bands of rain from the southwest. Now, there's the wind today. That's already up here in central and western South Dakota, and it's going to strengthen getting into Saturday. I'm expecting right now a good solid 40, 50 mile an hour wind, maybe gusts even higher than that in Sioux Falls by Saturday night, with that rain developing, and then the whole thing will tend to spin around into Sunday. Still some windy weather. Eventually we'll dial that back into Monday as the storm system begins to fall apart. But it's going to be a really slow mover as we get into Sunday and also on Monday. Here's a look at Futurecast, and you'll see those 60s out there today. Close to 70 in Spearfish and Rapid City. That's a mild afternoon. Forecast for tonight, we're going to drop back into the 40s, and then tomorrow, here come the 60s again, but the wind. That's the trouble part here. It's going to be just so windy, it's not going to feel as nice. And then the rain will likely creep up to Sioux Falls Saturday night in a couple of different bands that'll move through, and then some of those will develop in patches again on Sunday as we see that big swirl there across northern Nebraska. And there's your snow on the back side there in the blue, and again that hugs into the Black Hills where it's most likely to occur. Not really a cold storm, it's just marginally cold enough for the snow. 70 today, Rapid City on our forecast. South wind, though, 20 to 40. Your 7-day outlook. Once we clear this system out, looks like the weather will start to break and turn a little warmer by the middle of next week. We'll get back to the 60s, so we'll take that. Aberdeen in the northeast, looking at rain chances pretty solid here Saturday night into Sunday. But I will add that the amount of rain in the northeast is probably not as high. Quarter to a half an inch of rain seems like a plausible amount, but more than that is probably not going to be widespread. So we'll take that. And again, considering the storm system and its track, I think to the west, the Black Hills, you folks there are going to get the brunt of it. You're going to get a lot of water there in the northern hills. The system has the capability of producing locally 2 inches of water equivalent. That means, yeah, if you get half of that as snow, that's a lot of snow, isn't it? That could be 10 inches or more, but again, there'll be probably some rain as well. Check out the details. We've got a lot more information online at KELOLAND.com.